And later he decides he doesn't want her, so he makes up false charges against her, accusing her of not being a virgin when they got married. If this happens, the young woman's parents are to take the blood-stained wedding sheet that proves she was a virgin, and they are to show it in court to the town leaders. Her father will say to them, I gave my daughter to this man in marriage, and now he doesn't want her. He has made false charges against her, saying that she was not a virgin when he married her. But here is the proof that my daughter was a virgin. Look at the blood stains on the wedding sheet. Then the town leaders are to take the husband and beat him. They are also to fine him 100 pieces of silver and give the money to the young woman's father, because the man has brought disgrace on an Israelite woman. Moreover, she will continue to be his wife, and he can never divorce her as long as he lives. But if the charge is true and there is no proof that she was a virgin, then they are to take her out to the entrance of her father's house, where the men of her city are to stone her to death. She has done a shameful thing among our people by having intercourse before she was married, while she was still living in her father's house. In this way, you will get rid of this evil. If a man is caught having intercourse with another man's wife, both of them are to be put to death. In this way, you will get rid of this evil. Suppose a man is caught in a town having intercourse with a young woman who is engaged to someone else. You are to take them outside the town and stone them to death. She is to die because she did not cry out for help. Although she was in town where she could have been heard, and the man is to die because he had intercourse with someone who was engaged. In this way, you will get rid of this evil. Suppose a man out in the countryside rapes a young woman who is engaged to someone else. Then only the man is to put to death. Nothing is to be done to the woman, because she has not committed a sin worthy of death. This case is the same as when one man attacks another man and murders him. The man raped the engaged woman in the countryside, and although she cried for help, there was no one to help her. Suppose a man caught raping a young woman who is not engaged. He is to pay her father the bride price of 50 pieces of silver, and she is to become his wife, because he forced her to have an intercourse with him. He can never divorce her as long as he lives. No man is to disgrace his father by having intercourse with any of his father's wives. Next one is exclusion for the Lord's people. No man has been castrated or whose penis has been cut off may be included among the Lord's people. No one born out of wedlock or any descendant of such a person, even in the 10th generation, may be included among the people's Lord. No Ammonite or Moabite or any of their descendants, even in the 10th generation, may be included among the Lord's people. They refused to provide you with food and water when you were on your way out of Egypt, and they hired Balaam son of Beor from the city of Pethor in Mesopotamia to course you. But the Lord your God would not listen to Balaam. Instead, he turned the course into a blessing. Because he loved you. As long as you are a nation, never do anything to help this nation or to make them prosperous. Do not despise the Edomites. They are your relatives. And do not despise the Egyptians. You once lived in their land. From the third generation onward, their descendants may be included among the Lord's people. Next is keeping the military camp clean. When you are in camp in time of war, you are to avoid anything that would make you ritually unclean. If a man becomes unclean because he has had a wet dream during the night, he is to go outside the camp and stay there. Toward evening, he is to wash himself, and at sunset, he may come back into camp. You are to have a place outside the camp where you can go when you need to relieve yourselves. Carry a stick as part of your equipment so that when you have a bowel movement, you can dig a hole and cover up. Keep your camp ritually clean because the Lord your God is with you in your camp to protect you and give you victory over your enemies. Do not do anything indecent that would cause the Lord to turn his back on you. Various laws. If slaves run away from their owners and come to you for protection, do not send them back. They may live in any of your towns that they choose, and you are not to treat them harshly. No Israelite man or woman is to become a temple prostitute. Also, no money earned in this way may be brought into the house of the Lord your God is fulfillment of vow. The Lord hates temple prostitutes. When you lend money or food or anything else to Israelites, do not charge them interest. You may charge interest on what you lend to foreigners, but not on what you lend to Israelites. Obey these rules, and the Lord your God will bless everything you do in the land that you are going to occupy. When you make a vow to the Lord your God, do not put off doing what you promised. The Lord will hold you to your vow, and it is a sin not to keep it. It is no sin not to make a vow to the Lord, but if you make one voluntarily, be sure that you keep it. When you walk along a path in someone else's vineyard, you may eat all the grapes you want, but you must not carry any away in a container. When you walk along a path in someone else's grain field, you may eat all the grain you can pull off with your hands, but you must not cut any grain with a sickle. Next is divorce and remarriage. Suppose a man marries a woman and later decides that he doesn't want her because he finds something about her that he doesn't like. So he writes out divorce papers, gives them to her, and sends her away from his home. Then suppose she marries another man, and he also decides that he doesn't want her. So he also writes out divorce paper, gives them to her, and sends her away from his home. Or suppose her second husband dies. In either case, her first husband is not to marry her again. He is to consider her defiled. If he married her again, it would be offensive to the Lord. You are not to commit such a terrible sin in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. The next one is various laws. When a man is newly married, he is not to be drafted into military service or any other public duty. He is to be executed. He is to be excused from duty for 1 year, so that he can stay at home and make his wife happy. When you lend someone something, you are not to take as security his milestone used for grinding his grain. This would take away the family means of preparing food to stay alive. If any of you kidnap Israelites and make them your slaves or sell them into slavery, you are to be put to death. In this way, your nation will get rid of this evil. When you are suffering, what is this? When you are suffering from a dreaded skin disease, be sure to do exactly what the Levitical priests tell you. Follow the instructions that I have given them. Remember what the Lord your God did to Miriam as you were coming from Egypt. When you lend someone something, do not go into his house to get the garment he is going to give you as security. Wait outside and let him bring it to yourself. If he is poor, do not keep it overnight. Return it to him each evening so that he can have it to sleep in. Then he will be grateful and the Lord your God will be pleased with you. Do not cheat poor and needy hired servants, whether they are Israelites or foreigners living in one of your towns. Each day before sunset, pay them for that day's work. They need the money and have counted on getting it. If you do not pay them, they will cry out against you to the Lord, and you will be guilty of sin. Parents are not to be put to death for crimes committed by their children, and children are not to be put to death for crimes committed by their parents. Excuse me. Thank you. Oh no, it got wet. Do not deprive foreigners and orphans of their rights, and do not take a widow's garment as a security for a loan. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt and that the Lord your God set you free. That is why I have given you this command. When you gather their crops and fail to bring in some of the grain that you have cut, do not go back for it. It is to be left for the foreigners, orphans, and widows, so that the Lord your God will bless you in everything you do. When you have picked your olives once, do not go back and get those that are left. They are for the foreigners, orphans, and widows. When you have gathered your grapes once, do not go back over the vines a second time. That the grapes that are left for the foreigners, orphans, and widows. Never forget that you were slaves in Egypt. That is why I have given you this command. Okay, suppose two Israelites go to court to settle a dispute, and one is declared innocent and the other guilty. If the guilty one is sentenced to be beaten, the judge is to make him lie face downward and have him whipped. The number of lashes will depend on the crime he has committed. He may be given as many as 40 lashes, but no more than that would humiliate him publicly. Do not muzzle an ox when you are using it to thresh grain. Next is duty to a dead brother. If two brothers live on the same property and one of them dies, leaving no son, then his widow is not to be married to someone outside the family. It is duty of the dead man's brother to marry her. The first son that they have will be considered the son of the dead man, so that his family line will continue in Israel. But if the dead man's brother does not want to marry her, she is to go before the town leaders and say, "My husband's brother will not do his duty. He refuses to give his brother a descendant among the people of Israel." Then the town leaders are to summon him and speak to him. If he still refuses to marry her, his brother's widow is to go up to him In the presence of the town leaders, take off one of his sandals, spit in his face, and say, this is what happens to the man who refuses to give his brothers a descendant. His family will be known in Israel as the family of the man who has his sandal pulled off. If two men are having a fight and the wife of one tries to help her husband by grabbing hold of the other man's genitals, show her no mercy, cut off her hand. Do not cheat when you use weights and measures. You use true and honest weights and measures, so that you may live a long time in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. The Lord hates people who cheat. Next is the command to kill the Amalekites. Remember what the Amalekites did to you as you were coming from Egypt. They had no fear of God, and so they attacked you from the rear when you were tired and exhausted, and killed all who were straggled behind. So then, when the Lord your God has given you the land and made you safe from all your enemies who lived around you, be sure to kill all the Amalekites so that no one will remember them any longer. Do not forget. Next is harvest offerings. After you have occupied the land that the Lord your God is giving you and have settled there, each of you must place in a basket that first part of each crop that you harvest, and you must take it with you to the people place of worship. Go to the priest in charge at that time and say to him, I now acknowledge to the Lord my God that I have entered the land that he promised our ancestors to give us. The priest will take the basket from you and place it before the altar of the Lord your God. Then, in the Lord's presence, you will recite these words. My ancestor was wandering Aramean, who took his family to Egypt to live. They were few in number when they went there, but they became a large and powerful nation. The Egyptians treated us harshly and forced us to work as slaves. Then we cried out for help to the Lord, the God of our ancestors. He heard us and saw our suffering, hardship, and misery. By his great power and strength, he rescued us from Egypt. He worked miracles and wonders and caused terrifying things to happen. He brought us here and gave us this rich and fertile land. So now I bring to the Lord the first part of the harvest that he has given me. Then set the basket down in the Lord's presence and worship there. Be grateful for the good things that the Lord your God has given you and your family. And let the Levites and the foreigners who live among you join in the celebration. Every third year give the tithe and tenth of your crops to the Levites, the foreigners, the orphans, and the widows, so that in every community they will have all they need to eat. When you have done this, say to the Lord, none of the sacred tithe is left in my house. I have given it to the Levites, the foreigners, the orphans, and the widows, as you commanded me to do. I have not disobeyed or forgotten any of your commands concerning the tithe. I have not eaten any of it when I was mourning. I have not taken any of it of my house when I was ritually unclean, and I have not given any of it as an offering for the dead. I have obeyed you, O Lord. I have done everything you commanded concerning the tithe. Look down from your holy place in heaven and bless your people Israel. Bless also the rich and fertile land that you have given us as you promised our ancestors. Next, the Lord's own people. Today, the Lord your God commands you to obey all his laws. So obey them faithfully with all your heart. Today, you have acknowledged the Lord as your God. You have promised to obey him, to keep all his laws, and to do all that he commands. Today, the Lord has accepted you as his own people, as he promised you, and he commands you to obey all his laws. He will make you greater than any other nation that he has created, and you will bring praise and honor to his name. You will be his own people as he promised. Next is God's laws written on stones. Then Moses, together with the leaders of Israel, said to the people, "Obey all the instructions that I am giving you today. On the day you cross the Jordan River and enter the land that the Lord your God is giving you, you are to set up some large stones. Cover them with plaster and write on them all these laws and teachings. When you have entered a rich and fertile land that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, promised you, and you are on the other side of the Jordan, set up these stones on Mount Ebal, as I am instructing you today, and cover them with plaster. Build an altar there, made of stones that have no iron tools used on them, because any altar you build for the Lord your God must be made of uncut stones. There you are to offer the sacrifices that are to be burned, and there you are to sacrifice and eat your fellowship offerings and be grateful in the presence of the Lord your God. On the stones covered with plaster, write clearly every word of God's laws." Then Moses, together with the Levitical priests, said to all the people of Israel, "Give me your attention, people of Israel, and listen to me. Today you have become the people of the Lord your God. So obey him and keep all his laws that I am giving you today." Next, the curse of disobedience. Then Moses said to the people of Israel, "After you have crossed the Jordan, the following tribes are to stand on Mount Gerizim. When the blessings are pronounced on the people, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Joseph, and Benjamin, and the following tribes will stand on Mount Ebal when the curses are pronounced: Reuben, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Dan, and Naphtali. The Levites will speak these words in a loud voice. God's curse on anyone who makes an idol of stone, wood, or metal and secretly worships it. The Lord hates idolatry. And all the people will answer, Amen. God curse on anyone who dishonors his father or mother. And all the people will answer, Amen. God curse on anyone who moves a neighbor's property line. And all the people will answer, Amen. God curse on anyone who leads a blind person in the wrong direction. And all the people will answer, Amen. God curse on anyone who deprives foreigners, orphans, and widows of their rights. And all the people will answer, Amen. And God curse on anyone who disgraces his father by having intercourse with any of his father's wives. And all the people will answer, Amen. God curse on the people who have sexual relationships with animals. And all the people will answer, Amen. God curse on anyone who has intercourse with his sister or half-sister. And all the people will answer, Amen. God curse on anyone who has intercourse with his mother-in-law. And all the people will answer, Amen. God curse on anyone who secretly commits murder. And all the people will answer, Amen. God's curse on anyone who accepts money to murder an innocent person. And all the people will answer, Amen. God curse on anyone who does not obey all of God's laws and teachings. And all the people will answer, Amen. Thank you.